The last thing I want to do is start this off with a trigger warning, because that's kind of like saying, do and think about a monkey holding a banana in a box. If you don't think about it, it doesn't exist. But if you do think about it, then all of a sudden there is a monkey in your head holding a banana in a box, and you can't get it out. And that's exactly what this one's going to be like for some of you. So here we go. Creepy, true horror story. Alone at night. I was alone at night in my first apartment. I had just moved into this new city, and I decided that I wanted to rent an apartment by myself instead of having a roommate, because I didn't know anybody here, so I got my very first apartment by myself. It was a studio apartment, but it was nice. I mean, it was older, but it was very well kept, and it was only $850 a month. This was back in the early 2000s, so that was pretty cheap. It was also in a decent part of town. So I thought, awesome, I'm doing great. I've got my own place. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and I was unpacking boxes. I was tired. I was exhausted. I was hungry, but I wasn't really in the mood to cook, so I decided to just order a pizza. As I was unpacking these boxes, I started hearing these footsteps. Now, I live on the second floor, and this is a very old building, so you could definitely hear people walking above you and below you. So I thought, oh, okay, somebody's upstairs. You know, no big deal. Then I started hearing more footsteps. They were coming from right outside my door. I stopped and listened, and they went away. Okay, maybe it was a dog or something. Maybe someone was just walking by outside, and their footsteps happened to be right outside my door. Then I started hearing a knock. I stopped and I looked around. There was nothing. Then I heard another knock. I told myself, you're being ridiculous. There's nobody out there. You're alone in your apartment. Stop being silly. And the knocks came again, 3 strong knocks. I don't remember if there was a pause in between, but I do remember thinking, I'm not opening the door. Who's out there? What are they doing? Maybe it was a salesman. I don't know. But I was home alone for the first time in a long time, and I was definitely nervous about opening the door. About 5 minutes went by. The knocking stopped. I continued unpacking, trying to convince myself that it was no big deal. Then I heard a voice. It was a man's voice. He was talking in what sounded like a foreign language. Whatever he was saying sounded angry. I distinctly remember him saying the word vodka, but that was the only English word I caught. He was shouting now. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I do remember thinking, oh my God, he's drunk. Maybe this is some college kid who has come to the wrong door, and he is drunk, and he is looking for his friends. Maybe he thinks I'm his friend. I don't know. But I still wasn't going to open the door. He started kicking at the door. It was a solid wood door, a really old door, but it wasn't very heavy, and each kick sent the whole door frame shaking. I stood there frozen, listening to him kick at my door. Then he stopped. I don't know how long this went on for, but it must have been at least 15 minutes. Finally, he started speaking English. His voice was slurred. He was clearly drunk, and he was shouting, "Open up. Let me in. Please let me in. Come on, open up." I couldn't make out the rest of what he was saying, but I knew whatever it was important. Please let me in. I need your help. I need you to trust me. Let me in. Then he stopped. Again, there was silence. I sat down on the floor against the wall, and I called my best friend. I don't know if he could hear me talking on the other end, but I talked anyway. I told him what was going on. I told him to call me back when he got off the phone. Then I hung up. My friend lived about 20 minutes away. He said he would be right over. That was a huge relief to me. Knowing that someone was coming, even though I doubted that whoever was out there would actually be gone by the time my friend got there. About 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I almost jumped out of my skin. Of course, I didn't answer it. Instead, I went to the window and I looked out. The hallway was empty. I looked down and I saw my front door open. I screamed. I immediately ran to the window and I started yelling out for help. I don't know if anyone could hear me, but thankfully, my friend called back. I picked up the phone and I started screaming at him. I think he's in my apartment. I think he let himself in. Oh my God, hurry up. Then the line went dead. I looked at the phone and I noticed that I hadn't pressed the disconnect button. I hadn't meant to hang up on him, but I must have accidentally hit the disconnect button while I was freaking out. That's when I started hearing footsteps in my apartment. I dropped the phone and I ran to the bedroom. I locked the bedroom door behind me. I threw all of the furniture against the door to keep it closed. Then I hid in the closet. I don't know how long I stayed in there, but it felt like hours. I was crying. I was trying to be quiet. I was trying to catch my breath. Finally, I heard the footsteps leave my apartment. I waited a few more minutes, and then I left the closet. To this day, I don't know how long I spent in that closet. I'll never know because my phone was completely dead. The battery was completely drained. When I finally came out of that closet, I didn't see anything. Nothing was out of place. Nothing had been touched. I went to the front door and I opened it. It was wide open. The door frame was damaged. It was clear that whoever had kicked at that door had done a number on it. To this day, I don't know what happened that night. I don't know why I was chosen. I don't know why that man needed to get into my apartment. I don't know where he went once he got in there. I don't know if he was ever caught. All I know is that after that, I never went anywhere alone at night. Have you guys ever seen or heard anything scary at night? Let me know in the comments. Also, please subscribe. I would love it if you subscribed. And I will see you next week for a brand new podcast. Bye-bye.